question here. What can creative professionals do to get through this tough time? Because this is really the money question, right? Like at the end of the day, great, Tanya. Oh yeah, they have products. Yeah, I don't want to get into debt right now. I don't got no money. I need to take my money out of the bank because I need to take care of my bills. How is the bank actually going to help me through this tough situation?
Yeah, so I think the biggest thing to remember right now is there's a huge partnership amongst the major financial institutions in Canada and the government. And so I'll kind of break it down a little bit. I think the biggest thing is you need to be aware of what's available to you from a financial help perspective and take advantage of it. Um, I was speaking with someone the other day, sort of someone that I do freelance for, and they're like, I don't want to do it. It might look bad. It's not going to look bad. If you're going to take advantage of financial help, now is the time to do it and have no shame in it.
Mm,
So, the first thing would be to really research what you qualify for and pursue that help. So, as a person and as a business,
mm,
um, there's advantages to taking the personal help that's available to you and freeing up cash and or time for you to focus on your business. So the biggest thing that I can say is check out the government programs and then connect with your bank to see what they have to offer you in your specific situation. I'll be honest, the help's not going to fall in your lap. Your bank is not going to come to you and say, hey, Tristan, I really want to help you with this government program. They're flooded with calls, they're flooded with people who want to help. You're going to have to work for it. You're going to have to call them. You're going to have to probably sit on hold for a while. They're having the same challenges that many industries are having. People are sick, people are at home, they're pivoting and they're coming up with new ways to do banking. So reach out to them.
mm.
To give you some general information, I'd say depending on how your business is set up, and how you employ yourself, if that's how you pay yourself, or if you have employees. The Prime Minister just recently, I think yesterday, increased the wage subsidy up to 75%. Again, depending on how you pay yourself and or your employees, you may qualify for that, which is a huge chunk of savings and really a gift of money. I haven't seen it yet, but I also believe there's an announcement coming. If it came out, then I'm just not up on it today, where there's going to be some interest-free borrowing for small business that the government will be supporting through financial institutions. So this is another opportunity where you
Wow.
see, hey, if I don't have that existing relationship already, it might be a little more difficult. If you're doing banking, under your mattress, stuffing your cash there, the bank can't necessarily help you with that. So,
Wow.
not to say that you can't go back and do it from now. It's just going to be a little more challenging, and you're going to have to be a little more understanding. I'd say there's a host of things available from the government on a personal level. There's different things around per diems if people have to stay home in order to take care of children, to take care of elders, those types of things that are sort of elevated and out there because of COVID-19. The biggest thing that I can say, aside from having a one-on-one with someone, is that they need to check out the website that the
Mm.
government has. So I provided Tristan with a link. I don't know, Tristan, if you'll post it
Yeah,
for them later.
I'll put what I'll do is I'll put it into the description area so then it's available when they want to replay it, and just some of the key points that you're sharing with us. I'll put in the description so then people can kind of follow along as they're watching it later.
Sure. And then back to the banks, what I'd say is 2 weeks ago, they announced sort of like this joint thing, a joint press conference, I guess, indicating that they're going to help Canadians right now. So, again, not everything will be available to everybody. Not everybody will qualify. If I'm being completely honest, a bank's not going to give you $10,000 because you need it solely. They may
Mm,
give you $10,000 because you need it and you have the ability to pay it back.
mm-hmm.
Maybe they're going to be, relaxing some of the rules and stuff. Again, really based on relationship. I'd say personally, I've noticed that a lot of the relief is kind of personal based. Not to say that the business stuff isn't coming, but there hasn't been a lot of information on business stuff. So
Mm-hmm.
that's where having a relationship with a business advisor or starting one is going to be really helpful for you. So some of the things that I'll recap that you can do personally and may be available on the business side at your institution will sort of help you kind of, I'd say, free up some cash or buy you some time depending on your situation. So there's things like mortgage deferrals for up to 6 months. So
Wow.
that doesn't mean your mortgage goes away. It doesn't mean
Mm-hmm.
interest stops calculating, but it means you're not making payments for 6 months potentially.
Hmm. Which
right?
that was the question I was going to ask you next was like, if I have a line of credit, if I have a credit card, and they're waiving 3-4 months of my payments, what
Yeah.
happens with the interest, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, again, you kind of answered that, but yeah.
Yeah, typically interest will accumulate. There's some, unless they specify one of the offers that they have to help,
Hmm.
interest isn't accumulating, then it's going to accumulate. When it comes to loans, similar situation, deferrals, but for less of a period of time. Typically, I'm noticing that most financial institutions, when you look at their websites, they're offering about 3 months,
Hmm.
some a little less, maybe some a little more. Lines of credit are a little bit different. And here's where it gets tricky. So I'm going to give you a tip. If you're deferring a line of credit, you need to find out what happens after the deferral. It's a very specific question. You need to ask if the next payment is going to be ballooned or if it's just deferred. And so, what I mean by that
Mm.
is if your payment is ballooned, you actually could wind up in a situation where it wasn't a useful thing to take advantage of that. So,
Hmm.
a balloon payment means you have a line of credit payment that's due this month and next month, and you're going to defer, but it's going to be ballooned in the third month. That means on the third month, they're actually going to require the payment for those 3 months in total.
Which I mean, you may be just getting outside and getting jobs again, right? So
Right.
that can be very, very yeah. Well, this is the thing. I was, for my personal financial sort of situation, one of the things I was saying to my wife was, if we can pay it, and it's not going to, it's not going to be like really, really tight for us, then let's just pay it. Let's just do business as usual as long as we possibly can, so that we actually take advantage of the things that we need to take advantage of, right? And I think the thing that I love that you're saying is that there are a litany of different variety of different ways that the government and institutions are trying to provide relief for us as creatives, as Canadians, as personal customers and clients. We just have to figure out exactly what we need, and to, versus what would just be a bonus and would be nice to have. But at the end of the day, we still have to pay that. We have to pay that money back, right? Whatever
Right.
money that we borrowed, whatever interest is incurring, we still have to pay that back.
Right. The other thing that I would say is for things like the line of credit, your logic makes sense. And of course, your logic and your course of action is based on your personal situation and what you know about yourself,
Yeah.
and your business and sort of your financial situation as a family. One of the things that I would say with a mortgage deferral, though, is if you take that advantage of that and you find by month three, like you're okay, you could still use that money to have it there as a safety net or to invest in your business, right? And I
Mm.
don't mean like a formal investment, but maybe there's something you've been putting off, or maybe there's something you're thinking, gosh, I can't afford that right now. Look at what's happening in the economy related to COVID. I'm not getting business. Maybe you're lending to yourself by deferring your mortgage. But if you find out you don't need it, and again, speak with your financial institution about the penalties on the specific mortgage type you have, chances are, more times than not, you can take that money that you've saved by not paying your mortgage. So you're not going out anywhere and just spending it all willy-nilly, but you have that money to throw back as a lump sum payment. So it's going
That's
back on
good.
your principal again, right? So it's a little bit different with the different products. The other thing is, I mentioned that balloon payments are typical with PLCs, not always, but most financial institutions will do it that way. Um, a credit card, for example, may have an interest-free grace period
Mm.
that's extended. So we know that we have that from the times we make purchases. Again, credit cards typically have a higher interest rate, so maybe they'll have a reduced interest rate to help you with COVID. There's less of a clear line across the institutions on credit cards. They're all kind of specific, so you really
Hmm.
need to see what it is you have.
Okay.
But there are some advantages there as well. So it really depends on the product, your preference, and your situation in terms of what you should be taking advantage of.
This is great information. I can't wait to reshare this. This is amazing, Tanya. Thank